Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Conversations with me, Kristie Clayton. I'm so excited to have Stephany on today. I cannot wait for this conversation. We always have so much fun every time we get together. So if you don't know me, I'm Kristie Clayton. I am the founder of all things Herverse. Her is an acronym for helping executives rise. And we do that in 3 ways. We have community for our second in command leaders, regardless of what operating system you're running on. And then we have community for the women on the leadership team that report to that second in command leader called the Lead Her community. And then we do executive coaching for visionaries, integrators, second in command leaders, and leadership team members through the Accelerate program. Stephany, I'm so excited, friend, to have you on as a conversation. We always have amazing conversations.
Likewise. Yeah, I was so happy whenever you asked me to come on because yes, like you said, your conversations are some of my favorite conversations. We always walk away with such a grateful and happy and full heart. So I'm excited to bring that to the world.
Oh, I'm excited too. So Stephany, introduce yourself. Like, who are you?
Yeah. So my name is Stephany Day. What?
Who is Stephany?
Who is? Not to get philosophical. Why did the chicken cross the road? Anyway, yeah, so I'm Stephany Day. I'm a fractional COO. I work with ConvHERsation, which is a leading boutique executive search firm that, helps tons of companies find the better teams and create better teams so that they're able to, do the things that they're planning to do. On top of that, I launched the Fractional Leap, which helps executives and veterans launch into the fractional space. I've been working on that for just a little bit under a year now, and it's my baby. I've been, just really helping more and more people decide. I mean, that's like the I don't know, the biggest, best thing that I could have done with my time back in January whenever I decided to do this, because now I'm in this really great space where I work fractionally with tons of coaches, with tons of, companies that help teams create synergy within them. And that's just been the theme of this year. And I'm starting to just fall deeper and deeper in love and deeper and deeper into the space of just creating better teams and working with people that you love and all of that fun stuff. And so through ConvHERsation and the Fractional Leap, I have this really great duality of working with executives that are maybe on the fence. Like, do I want to stay in the traditional, in traditional roles, or do I want to go fractional? And, I'm that person that comes in and says, let me ask you a bunch of questions. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Like, what is it that is going to be best for you? And yeah, I thankfully it's been a lot of fun to work in those two spaces, and to work as a fractional with coaches and people that are, just doing things out in the leadership space has been really fun.
I love that. I love that. And listen, I personally know your background, but can you share a little bit about your story and how you got from where you were to where you are today?
Yeah. So, I mean, I started off in project management. I tell everyone, I'm like, hey, listen, I had no clue what I was going to do with my life. When like I could literally go back 15 years ago and talk to myself like in college and just be like, hey, so what's the plan here? And my answer would have been completely different than where I am today. And a lot of it would have been like, I don't know. I didn't know if I wanted to have kids. I didn't know if I ever wanted to get married. I didn't know if I wanted to work I didn't know. I was kind of like, I kind of want to be a lawyer. I kind of want to be like, I don't know, like a teacher. I kind of just want to work on my art. So I was, not sure of anything. And when I had to get a job, obviously straight out of college, like got to pay back those loans. Right. And I went into project management, and I had this amazing leader, Joao Guedes, who is from Portugal, and he just believed in me. And he also just kind of told me, like, listen, you don't have to decide anything today. You just have to work on what you love to work on. And I started just pouring more and deeper into project management because it aligned with the way that I was thinking and the way that I mean, integrator brain, right? I even posted about it today. It's like I was hanging out with one of my old visionaries, and we said, oh, our brains are just completely different. The way that we take in information is completely different. So anyway, I ended up working in project management for long enough that I eventually became an operational leader. And then from there, I decided to take the leap into the fractional space, through, I think, a ton of un I would say, like, unfortunate events that are also fortunate. It's the burnt toast theory, where
Mhm.
things happen, and in the moment, they were like, "Oh, this is terrible," but once I was on the other side, I was like, "Oh, that's why all of that happened, and everything's okay now." And so, um, anyway, then 2 years ago, I, had a miracle happen, which was, my husband and I weren't necessarily trying. I tell the story all the time too. It's like we bought a two-bedroom home because we thought like, "Oh, we're not gonna have kids. It's never gonna happen. Let's just kinda like almost like just give up and just say, whatever, if it's not for us, it's not for us." And then, like 6 months after moving into this home, we find out that I'm pregnant, and I'm like, "Okay, great, here we go. It is. Let's do this." And so, anyway, we ended up let me switch my, I don't know why my headphones are being weird, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch over the audio to my speakers. There we okay.
Yeah.
So now I can hear you, and I won't have to mess with my headphones. And so what ended up happening with that was, I had my son, my entire, labor story was, like, think of everything that could possibly go wrong, and that's kinda what happened. I mean, my son was in the NICU, after he was born, and he was born, like, 10 pounds. Like, he was a big baby, he was a healthy baby, but everything that could have gone wrong with me went wrong with me. And so I went through, just this horrible, like, first month, like, the first 6 weeks of his life were just a blur to me because I was just not yeah, I wasn't where I needed to be. I couldn't breastfeed. I couldn't, like, it just, all of it was just going wrong for me.
Mm,
And if you know me, like, I'm like a super just positive and like I'm always smiling. In fact, laughing is like a way for me to react to like bad news because I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, let's like figure like silver lining." I mean, I talked about it earlier, like burnt toast theory, like I am that person that's always like, "Well, how are we gonna like get through this?" Like something bad happens, let's think about tomorrow and what tomorrow looks like. And during those 6 weeks of after his birth, I know that I was not that person. And I had to go back to work, right? Because we're in the US and I know that, we have listeners from probably other parts of the world, but
yeah.
in the US, like there's this enormous pressure to go back to work and that you can do all of it and you're a boss babe, right? Like we're fed this story of like you're a boss babe and like you can do all of it and you can be a mom and you can, go to work and like do all of it. And yes, like to a certain extent, yes, we can do all of it, but we also have feelings and we also have emotions and psychological things that happen and our bodies are I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard, right? Like labor is hard. If you go through a C-section, that's hard. Um, so anyway, kind of went down a deep rabbit hole there about my story, but the end point is I do think that as women, we have this enormous pressure to do all of it. And thankfully, I have figured out that it's okay to slow down and it's okay to say, I can't today, or I don't want to do that. And that was another reason that, from where I was 2 years ago when I first had my son, um, almost 2 years to the day, because it's almost his birthday in like a couple days. So 2
Happy
years almost exactly.
birthday. Nice.
Yeah, you've met him, one time, so yeah, you know him. He's, a ball of joy.
Yes, he is.
So yeah, we decided, or I decided, you know, not only did I wanna take a step back from the career, obsession that I had prior to my son, but also I wanted to slow down. And going into the fractional space, working at a fractional capacity really did that for me. But not only that, I'm also now in just like a much happier place that I was in
Yeah.
before making this decision.
I love that. And I think it is one thing that we've been talking about more and more in different groups is it's okay to not know. Right?
Yeah.
When you first started talking, you didn't know if you wanted to get married. You didn't know if you wanted to have kids. You didn't know what you wanted to do. And that's okay, right? It is okay to be in that spot. And it sometimes takes, some people know right away, right? I know young
Yeah.
kids, 10 years old, I want to be a doctor. And they go to college and they do all the things to become a doctor. And they know, they just know. But others, it takes time. So that is okay. That is absolutely okay.
You hit such a great point. And I think, I think more and more we're starting to realize that we're all really different, like way different individuals. And I remember growing up, so I have a younger sister, she's about 5 years younger than me. And I remember growing up, we were compared a lot. I think, in the beginning I was, yeah, like 6 years old, 6 years old whenever she was born. And right at that age, you're at that age where you like really want to help your parents and you want to like be helpful. And so if my mom would be like, watch your little sister while I, use the potty or whatever, like I would do that. And so I almost felt like a secondary, like, parent figure to her.
Mhm.
And then we got to a certain age where I was maybe 13, 14, and I was starting to like babysit her and all that. But people would compare us all the time because she was starting to, about to be my same height. We're getting to that point where people were starting to see us as like almost like the same age, even though we weren't. We were very far apart. And on top of that, we're like yin and yang, like she's looks like nothing like me. So it's just really funny. But they would compare, it would start with like hair. It's like, oh, her hair is brown and like reddish, and your hair is so black. And like, oh, you are, so thin and your sister is a little bit thick. And like they would just compare us to the point where it really, now as adults, as adult women, we're like, why would people do that to us? And like pit us against each other where we were jealous of certain things of each other. But not only that, I was like a straight A student and I was, in debate and I was in theater and I was, and all that. And then she was like ADHD and could not calm down, couldn't listen, couldn't like, she was like happy when she made a C because she was like, oh, I passed this test. I was so worried about it. And we would go get ice cream because my sister made a C and I would be like, well, I have straight A's. Like, why don't we do ice cream whenever I make, but it's different for everyone. And if there is one thing that I hope we will teach the new generation that's coming up, it's you are an individual and it's okay, 100% okay if you are not like your cousins or your sister or your brother, whoever, because even though you come from the same family, like you are an individual, you're a different person, and it's okay to not know. Just do the things that make you happy, they make your heart sing, and trust me, like everything will work out in the end.
Agree. I
Yeah.
could not agree more. We talked about this, or I talked about it a couple years ago at Summit, how
Mhm.
when we are from young age, right? Little girls, we are giving all of these images of perfection and what you're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
I am supposed to be getting straight A's, and we're given princess dresses and all of these things that we're supposed to do. And so, even thinking through like magazine articles that you read, and hey, you're supposed to be a mom and career and wife and all of these
Mm.
things. Our homes, look at magazines that are displayed. That's like, this is what perfection looks like. This is what a house is supposed to look like. But everybody's version of that is different. And that's one thing that I really want people to know is, you're right, Stephanie. Every person is different. Your wants, your needs are different. Your level of achievement may be different than somebody else's. It doesn't make either of you right or wrong. It just makes you different.
Yes. And you brought up such a good point, like with the houses and all that. Like we're told like we're supposed to like have these cookie cutter homes that are clean and that are, like perfect. And you got to have babies and you got to bounce back quickly and you got to, go back to work quickly and be impressive and be pretty and presentable and never cry and laugh, like, and all of those things. Like, we've had to unlearn all of that. Like, as you were mentioning all of it, I'm like, unlearned, 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 because that's and it's work. It's hard work to unlearn all of that.
Mhm.
I grew up in a cookie cutter home where everything was really clean and really structured and beautiful. And my mom was that woman that like our house had to be perfect because otherwise she wasn't a good mom. And we like now that I'm, at this stage, especially now that I'm a mom, first of all, my house, like if you ever come in here, like it's colorful, it's crazy, it looks lived in. There are blankets on the couch because I like to put on a blanket whenever I'm watching TV. I like to have a blankie. Like my mom comes in and she looks and she's like, and like this chair is goofy and like I have things on the wall that don't make sense, but they make me happy and they're pretty and it doesn't match the rest of the house, but that's okay because it makes me happy. And it's not just that, it's like everything, it's like it goes back to like your point on success. And like you could still be like if it makes you really happy to be like really successful and you want to be like a woman CEO and never have kids and that's what makes you happy, absolutely. I will respect that. I will love you to the end of the world because you are doing what makes you happy. And if buying a 10-bedroom mansion that it looks perfect, like that's what makes you happy, then do it. By all means do it. But don't do it because it makes other people happy, because it makes your mom happy whenever she comes in, or because it makes, I don't know, like random people. Like random people don't matter. Like just worry about you and your happiness and yeah, and what makes your heart sing. I say that all the time, but it's because truly like the past 2 years, like I've really learned what that means to make your heart sing. I
Mhm.
didn't really know that. Like before, like this big change in my life that I've had and dealing with postpartum depression and dealing with just the chaos of like life that is uncontrollable, where you cannot control these things. That's what helped me really find out like who I am as a person and to really figure out what does your heart singing mean? If I want to stop working at 2 p.m. to go sit out in the sun for a little while because I need sunlight and I need to go, yeah, just sit and read and paint or do whatever it is. Like I do that now because I realize how fragile life is and how fragile all of it is. And there is no control of anything out there. Things are going to happen that are out of your control daily, and you just have to roll with it.
Yeah.
You can't sit and cry about it.
No, that's true. And listen, it's so funny to hear you say that too, because can you sit and cry about it? Of course. I mean, we all need that good cry every now and then, right? But what I love to say is, and one thing my coach taught me is cry, get it all out, get all of that out, take a day, but don't take two, right? We got to get
Yes.
and feel all the emotions that you need to feel and do all the things that you need to do to release whatever's happening in your life. But the key is to get right back on the horse and say, you know what, I am absolutely a strong, capable, powerful, successful person, and I can overcome this and start achieving, right? So love
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes, that is totally it. Like, whenever I say, like, "You can't cry about it," like, that's totally what I mean. It's like,
Mhm.
you can cry about it, but you can't wallow in it.
Follow it. Yes.
Don't wallow. Like, when bad things happen or when things happen that you can't control, yes, let it all out. But
Yeah.
then you gotta say, "Okay, it's out, and now what's the next step, and how do we keep marching on?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Stephanie, I'm really, I know you're really, really passionate about like leadership development and things. And I'm really curious of all of the things that have happened, with your development, being a mom, being a wife, being in leadership, all of the things. Like, what are some of the things that you try to take from all of those experiences to really kind of help the next generation that's coming up and, leading teams and leading companies?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but you don't have to decide today. Like, that's the number one thing. Like, whenever I meet like a 22-year-old, 24-year-old that's like, I want to do blah, blah, blah. Like, sure, if you have an idea and you're sure of it, great. But you don't have to decide today if you want to have kids. I think that's another misconception too that we get a lot as women. It's like, if you don't do it now, or if you don't do it in your 20s, or if you don't do it early, like you're never going to do it and you're going to be childless. That's not the case. You can do it later in life. You don't have to decide right now. Don't get married to a rando, right? Like, that's one thing that I talk about a lot too. It's like, my husband and I got married 5 years ago. I mean, we did not get married early. We waited. I mean, getting married in your 30s is okay.
Yes, it is.
All right. Like for the younger generation of women, like, I'm like, and if you find the love of your life early on, great. But, I don't know. I got really lucky with my husband. We've been together for 10 years. And we got married 5 years ago. And I think it was like that, the 5 years of knowing each other and really getting to be each other's best friends and like going through things together that really solidified, like, oh, I really do love this person. I really do care about this person. I think that's really important. Yeah. And how it impacts your career is, a whole nother set of issues. But whenever you are early on in your career, don't settle for or try to do things quickly because you're like, well, I have to do it all now. I have to have the babies. I have to, have the perfect husband and the perfect house, and I have to have the career, and I have to. None of it has to happen right now. Like, absolutely none of it has to happen right away. And then as far as your career, find those women. And I know they say this like in, I don't know, magazines and stuff, like I'm trying to remember the exact wording of it, but it's like they will fix your crown.
Oh,
yeah. Crown fixers or crown, like, I don't know what the right thing is, but it's like, find those women that are going to help you. Mm-hmm. I was talking about Deirdre. I posted about Deirdre. I had lunch with her yesterday. Deirdre from Crazy Good Talks. And so if you don't know her, definitely go follow her because she's also one of those people that is just a great person to know.
She's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and her daughter is 21 years old, I want to say. And she's had the opportunity to be mentored by some amazing entrepreneurial women like her mom, but also by other women and other men also in the industry, to where I want to say she's 21 or 22, something like that. And she's got like several coffee shops that she opened up that are openly faith-based and that are openly just, I mean, beautiful. But, and obviously, like, she had these opportunities to do these amazing things. But I think that a lot of it has to do with leaning into those women, that tribe, right? Or those men. I say women and men, because I even for me, like my first mentor that I really care about and that I talk about all the time is Joao. And it's about leaning in and telling people honestly, right? Like telling those men and women honestly what you're struggling with so that they can help you, so that they can advise you, so that they can, help. And I think that, like people like you, I think, and like me, and like Kate Norton and Jamie Munoz from Catalyst, Paulina Walters. I can go on, Grandy Washington. Like, those are all women that if you add us and you're like a 20-something-year-old and you have questions and you are worried about, or you're a 30-year-old or 40-year-old, I don't even care what age you are. If you're someone that is like struggling with something and you're like, I don't know what to do right now. But if you were to like message any of us and say, I don't know what I'm doing right now, and this is what I'm worried about, and we would sit down and listen, and we would ask you more questions, and we would help you figure it out, because those are the types of people that you want to surround yourself with. Yeah. The type of people that care about you and your life, even when they don't even know you. Like that is like something that you can't buy that with money. You can't go and get a program. You can't, like just having people that truly care about your life just because you're another human being, like that is something that you can't, yeah, you can't replace with anything. So for
I
those young leaders out there,
so the
find
quote
mentors.
Yeah, no, and the quote that you brought up is one of my favorites. You know, the be the woman who fixes another woman's crown without telling the world it is crooked.
There you go. That's what it is.
One of my favorites, and I adjusted it a little bit. So it's actually one of my core values is empower others. And the way that I worded it is be the one who helps another wear their crown proudly, right? Like,
Mm.
you know, because I struggle with the adjust their crown because their crown is their crown. Maybe they want to wear it that way, but help them wear that crown proudly, right? Like I'm so glad you mentioned that because there are an incredible group of women and finding your person, regardless of who your person is, it may be your mom, it may be a mentor, but it may be somebody that, you do meet on LinkedIn. You just never know where you're going to meet these women. But
Yeah.
finding that person and really like being open, honest, and vulnerable and saying, hey, I really need help. I'm not, I don't know. I don't know the answers. And it can be everything from life to business questions to anything, but having that person or that group of people is really, really critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And you totally hit on something a moment ago. You don't know where that person or who that person's going to be. And yeah, it could be your husband, it could be your mom, it could be someone like very close to you already.
Mhm.
And part of it is just being able to get outside of your head or get like the worries outside, which is really hard for a lot of people. I know for me, I love to wallow in my own insecurities and my own issues, and it has taken me a long time to say, "I'm worried about blank, and this is why I'm worried about it," and even with, my husband or my mom or people that are close to me, um, and it's so liberating to just be like, "Oh, it's all out now, and I can live life now."
Well, exactly. And I think a lot of that comes from this idea of perfection, right? We have to be perfect. We have to wear the princess dresses. We have to have a
Mhm.
perfect home. We have to have, 2.12 kids with, a college degree and we have to be in leadership. Like all of those things are fantastic, but the one thing that I want people to remember is when you're seeing a snapshot of somebody's life, you are seeing the perfect piece that they want you to see. So when you're looking at a magazine article and it's the perfect kitchen and there's no dishes anywhere or there's no spilled milk on the counter, that's not real. I guarantee you what you see behind the camera, there is imperfections. And so it's okay, especially as women, it is okay for us to release this idea of perfection. And your idea of success does not have to be equal to someone else's. So if
Yes.
you want kids, have kids. If you want the career, have the career. If you want the perfect home, have the perfect home. If you want it all, my friend, have it all. But do it because it's what you want to do, not what everybody else wants of you. And they're not dictating your life for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
I love that, we're in a time and era where we're able to be whatever we wanna be. Like, if I wanna have, which I do, if I wanna have chickens and sit around and make sourdough bread and work with 2.1 clients because I want enough time to be able to go for a walk down in the lake like an old lady and feed the ducks, like, I can do that. And if I want, like, I mean, I have friends who are my same age and they're like, they live downtown in a condo by themselves with their cat and they are so happy. And they see the happiness that I have with my son and they're like, well, I'm so happy for you.
For you. Yes.
And that's okay. Like, that is totally, totally okay. Um, yeah. I mean, we're pretty much at an age or an era, we're in culturally, we're in a space where you are able to do whatever it is that you want to do. And if you want to be a mom and be a career woman, you can do that. If you want to be just one or the other, you can do that. And we're all going to be happy for you. No one's going to whisper and criticize. No one's going to, no one's going to care what you do with your life. It's yours to live. So just do whatever makes you really happy. And if at any point you pivot and you're like, actually, I want to do this, because that's what happened with me. I mean, I was like so career driven and career focused and career like everything. And I was just trying to climb the ladder and make more money and do more things. And then I had my son, Jack. And now I'm like, I just want to be a mom and I want to hang out by the lake with the ducks and I want to make sourdough bread and I want to have chickens and I want to be able to work with 2 or 3 clients because I still want to make an impact, but I don't want to be in an office from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and not see the light of day just because I want a better title. Like, yeah, the titles will be there whenever I'm ready to pivot again, but do what makes you happy.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you bring up a great point too, though, is just because you want something today does not mean that's what you're going to want tomorrow. And it's okay. That is okay. It is okay to change your mind.
Yes.
And, you said something else that I just want to like add a little extra oomph to is you said, if people are whispering, something behind your back or, you know what, I tell my clients this all the time. What people are saying behind your back is none of your business. Don't listen to them.
Yes. That's so great. That's so great.
Hold on to what you want to do and move forward the way that you want to.
Yeah. And what I said was, no one's going to do it, but actually you're right. Like some people might whisper and some people might be, angry at whatever you're doing or upset or whatever. That is such a great way to view it, is none of your business. Like, and also like, I used to have this problem where like if someone, and I think I talked maybe with you or maybe with someone else, but when someone makes a certain face and I like take it in because I'm so like, I have to smile the entire time. I can't, like, I don't let my face ever make anybody feel bad because I'm like, I can't, because I take it that way.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as someone is like, and my mom once told me, like, she was like, you don't know if that person really needed to, this is going to sound really funny. You don't know if that person needed to fart and just made a face because they're like thinking about something else. They're thinking about how to hide what's going on in their body. You don't know what's going on in their mind. So don't let, their facial expressions or their, whatever it is that that you think they're expressing to you,
mm-hmm.
like be the reason that you feel bad. Like you start thinking and making up these ideas about what you think this other person is thinking, unless they verbally tell you, I don't like you and I don't like what you're doing. Like, stop imagining that the world doesn't love you and doesn't think that you're amazing.
Yeah.
Just, because again, you don't know what's going on internally and why that person's making that face or why that person didn't, congratulate you on this thing that you did. Like, you don't know. You don't know what's going on with their life and with their face and with their mind. So it's none of your business is a great way of thinking about it as well.
Yeah. And I
don't want to think about farts.
Right. I've been told many times that I have an intense RBF face, right? And so I'm like, I have to be very careful too. And the thing is, you're right though, because there's a lot of misinterpretation with that. Because a lot of the times when I'm being accused of RBF, I'm like, no, actually, I was really intently listening to, like, I was trying to take in all of the things that you were saying, and my face just gets intense. So I think that's kind of funny. You don't know. And if it bothers you that much, get curious and ask questions. Don't make assumptions, right?
That's a great point as well. And I've gotten so much braver about that. I think, in the past, like I said, like I would just internalize it and I would think, oh, that person doesn't like me. They, rolled their eyes or they would, whatever. And now I really do. Like if I notice that someone like rolled their eyes during a meeting or something, I'd be like, hey, I noticed that you rolled your eyes. I wanted to address it and just make sure that I'm not stepping on your toes on this or that. And it really does make a huge difference. My relationships with people that probably would have ended up really badly or gone down like a wrong path if I had just made an assumption, have gotten so much better or gone so much better because I'm like, hey, what's going on? And what can I do better? And what did I say that made you make that face? Or maybe like I just imagined that they were making that face, but being open about, hey, I noticed it,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
how am I making you feel with this comment or this thing that we're doing has really helped a ton.
Yeah.
And you just have better relationships with people.
Girl, I knew we were going to have a fun conversation. I
Is it time already? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
can you believe we've been talking for 37 minutes? This is
No,
crazy.
it feels like 2.
Well, I always appreciate every time we have time to get together. So thank you for coming on. You know how I'm going to end this because you said you've watched a couple of episodes. So
Yeah.
ending with rapid fire. Who are the 3 women? Honor, empower, inspire means a lot to me. So who was a woman of a past generation that you want to honor today?
So this is probably going to be a weird one, and I had to look her up because I was like I want to make sure that I say the right name, and it's Ellen Ochoa, and she was the first Hispanic woman to in the world to go into space, and on April 8th, 1993, and she's one of the reasons that I felt that I could do anything in life, and I know that that's it's a weird thing, but hearing like the first Hispanic woman doing something just felt powerful.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
I had to look up the date. I was like, I know it was in the 90s, but I don't know what date.
That's
So,
awesome. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. So, what about a woman of today's generation, someone who's in leadership today or in business today that either empowers you or that you want to empower?
yeah, I would say Jamie Munoz of Catalyst. And I think, she really helped me find my true self. And if you are not connected with her and you don't follow her and you don't know who she is, look her up. She is an amazing, amazing person. And I mean, she continues to do it. She's killing it with Catalyst and empowering even more people. And I think we need more people like that, more people like her.
Agree. Jamie's amazing. In fact, I was on a call with her right before I got on with you. So, she's an
Well,
incredible
that was probably an amazing conversation also.
person. She's absolutely incredible.
She
And
is.
what about a future generation? Who is a woman of a future generation that you hope to inspire?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many. But I don't even know where to start with this one because here's like the thing. I have been working a ton with the community that I grew up in Aldine in Houston, Aldine ISD, and there are several young women that I work with to empower them from Black and Hispanic communities that are just not told often enough that they can go to college and that they can live a different life that is not stuck in Aldine having kids. And again, if that's what you want to do, like that's great. But I want every single young woman out there that is in an impoverished or not rich area of the US to feel and hear. And I hope that I can get this message across to as many young women out there. If you feel that you are stuck in a situation where you have no other option than to stay where you're at, that is not the case.
Yeah.
And we're here for you. And there are so many options out there and there are so many resources. And, and I just, yeah, I want every single one of those young women that feel stuck in a situation where they are in maybe a neighborhood that feels unsafe, or they are stuck with a family that's telling them that they are worthless or that they don't know or that they can't, to just know, yes, you can, and reach out because I have a very long document of resources that I can send over to you.
Oh, I love that. What a wonderful way to end this conversation is to say you have a choice.
Yes.
You have a choice, and the choice is yours. Thank you.
Every step of the way.
I appreciate
Thank
you. I
you.
love this conversation. I can't wait to see you next month.
I know. I'm pumped. See you in Phoenix. See all
Phoenix,
of you in Phoenix if
here
you're
we
going.
I love it. Here we come. 160 women are coming to Phoenix. So
Yeah.
soon.
We're gonna kill it over there. So yeah, and if you're not going to FEM this year, then you need to start thinking about what it'll look like for you to go next year. And if you have questions about that, reach out to either one of us or anyone on the FEM team, because it is such a great event. Every, female exec that I know needs to be out there.
Agree. We would love to have everybody that we can.
All right.
Thank you, friend.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you so much. And we'll see everybody again next week. You'll have a good one.
Bye.